Merry Christmas, Internet. I'm Dan.
And I'm Chaz, and this is Wine and Serious Business, episode 161. We're here with our what has become our tradition on Christmas, drinking something a little out of the ordinary. I know we've done a Sauternes show before, but we've been at this a little while. Did we do a Sauternes show every episode?
So it's weird that we missed last year, but it also makes me realize this is the fourth Christmas show we've done on Wine and Serious Business.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so. Which is pretty crazy. So this is, third of four. So feeling pretty good about that. And I like it as a tradition because we both really like Sauternes.
Yeah.
Our buying habits have kind of drifted away from it as the years have gone by.
Right.
I'm not necessarily happy with that trend. And so it's really good to use this as an excuse to try some current stuff on the market, especially if we can find some great deals. Because a while ago, that 2005 Castelnau de Suduiraut was screaming.
Oh yeah, it was a delicious bottle of wine for $20 a bottle, right? So.
Yeah. So we've got some stuff along that line tonight. Starting out with something a little more expensive. This is the 2009 Chateau Guiraud, something like that. I just heard someone pronounce it.
It's the G.
Correctly, fairly recently, and I already forgot. This is going to be a bunch of embarrassment this show, as we butcher French pronunciation.
I hate these episodes because we can't pronounce anything correctly, so we apologize ahead of time.
And if you know how to pronounce these, that would actually be pretty amusing for us if you put a phonetic pronunciation of the comments.
That would be fantastic.
That'd be really good, actually. Very well-respected producer, right? Like, I've got some stuff from them in the cellar. Don't know a whole lot of history about them, but I heard some interesting trivia recently that they use more Sauvignon Blanc than most folks in the region do. So they get a little more citrus notes, have a little lighter character to them. And when we pre-tasted these to look for cork, that lightness was evident right away.
Oh, absolutely. And 2009 and then the other ones of 2007s, both considered pretty good vintages in Sauternes, at least what the internet says. So
sweet.
Yeah. Do love to smell these wines, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just full-on dessert, creme brulee sort of aromas.
And not overwhelming. It's not like this huge rush of caramel or anything like that. It's just a little bit in the background. I'm getting some nice lemon zest grated over the top of the creme brulee too.
And a lot of times these can display strong tropical fruit aromatics, and this one is not displaying. This is more on the buttery, sort of creamy side. Very, very kind of faint notes, it's not jumping out of the glass.
I'm going to say there's a little minerality here too, even. It does have I don't know, just a touch of that character to it.
And a touch of the almonds. Think of those almonds that we do regularly. What are those almonds in the oil and the salt that we...
Marcona almonds, yeah.
Yeah, so think of fresh roasted those, right? It's got a little bit of an almondy characteristic to it that I like quite a bit, so that smells great. Get why this is a top producer, right?
Yeah.
Just the sense of the feel and the sense of elegance on the palate is just fantastic.
It's really light and crisp down the center, I think, and I'm getting a little of those lime peels. Or lemon peels, a little bit of that minerality, and then all this richness is showing up on the sides and the back, kind of framing it all, and I really like how that comes in. The creme brulee he was talking about is spot on. It's really tasty creme brulee too. It's not like stuff you got out of the freezer at Safeway or something like that.
The fruit notes that, I didn't get a lot of fruit notes on the nose, but like Dan was talking about, the fruit notes that are squarely in the center of the palate and the acidity, spot on, delicious. And it's weird, this sort of the difference is the richness settles in completely in the cheeks and the sides of the tongue and gums, and then there's just this awesome rip of acidity right down the center of the tongue, keeping things fresh. Yeah, but it's all textured really, really well and built really well, right? There's sometimes the acidity can come off a little hard, or the sugar can come off a little weighty and cloying. There's none of that here.
Yeah, not heavy at all. And there's these peach flavors sitting on the back of my tongue, as it kind of goes through the finish, that are brilliant. They're not heavy, they're not overwhelming, but they're there. They're kind of a little bit of vanilla, maybe it's cooked into a pie or something like that, but they're just really delicious.
A lemon pie, a lemon cream pie or something, man. Yeah, that's yummy. It's tough for me because I really like a more powerful Sauternes, And I think this is one of the first times that I've had one that's like, this is so light and delicate, but yet it's really well done in that sense, and I love it.
I'm totally with you on that.
It's awesome.
Usually, you know, I'm a little back and forth on the lighter or like crisper style of Sauterne, but this brings it better than I've had in the past, which ties in really well to an email we got. So this is a long time ago, but after, you know, it was in a response to a previous Sauterne show. Frederick Desmoulins, sorry again, this is terrible, but thank you so much for emailing us. And he wanted to say, you know, first off, great to get praise from somebody who grew up in the region, who likes what we had to say about Sauterne, but also that in that region it's not just dessert wine; they drink it all the time, and that really kind of like opened my eyes to the like use and why there are more of these like light style Sauterne too, because you know that's something that you'd be a lot more comfortable drinking with lunch, I think, than something that's really heavy and sweet.
Yeah.
And A, fascinating to hear about, and B, kind of fun to think about. I still haven't stepped to that myself, right, and just gone for the experience of like a Sauterne being a middle course wine, or like a meal wine
or
by
like
itself.
An appetizer wine or aperitif.
Yeah, but it's cool to know that, you know, where they're made, they're the everyday wine, right? That's what they're for. So thanks for the email, and it's fun to share that information.
Yeah, I remember that email came a long time ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago, but I wanted to bring it up because it was cool to see.
But yeah, get back to one. So I mean, it's neat because there is some evolution on this wine, right?
Totally.
The richness we talked about with the fresher flavors settling in the center of the tongue sort of combine after the wine's maybe been swallowed and you wait like 5 or 10 seconds, and there's a long finish, right? That sort of lasts, and it's I like this a lot. 92 plus for me.
Yeah.
And a lot of those times you like look at young Sauterne, especially from a producer that's this well regarded. You would think, you know, don't drink it young. This is one I would not hesitate to drink young. Like I like how light, how easy it is on the palate. So check it out.
Yeah, 92 points for me too. I'm right with you. It's really good to go right now, especially just like little sips to really let you experience the evolution and think about it. It's really enjoyable.
All right, so 2007, Castelnau de Suduiraut. It's a second wine of Chateau Suduiraut. Been one of our favorites on past shows, or we've done it on a past show. I think we did 2005. Both liked it enough to buy it.
Yeah.
2007, kind of a tough year in Bordeaux for the reds, but because of the odd weather, it turned out really well for the whites, or excuse me, the Sauternes and dessert wines, and yeah.
And this is definitely, like, this second label is one of our favorites to check out every year, because it usually retails for, you know, $20 plus or minus, right? Like, I got this for a little bit under, and you know, it is a very respectable producer, and every once in a while their second wine is nailing it. When you can get delicious Sauterne for $20, like, that's a win for you and everybody that drinks with you.
Totally. All right. So this is getting more towards the tropical nose.
Yeah,
tropical aromas, right? Like dried pineapple, sort of like the dried.
Much more ripe peaches coming out of the nose for me. A little bit of citrus is there too. I think more like limes than lemons, though.
Actually, the pineapples aren't dried. There is some fresh pineapple juice up in there too.
Yeah.
Huh, yeah, and so this is more an immediately tropical nose, got less of the desserty characteristics that the Guiraud had. Still smells really good though.
Nice and light when it touches on the palate, but then like the richness really comes in. It gets a little heavier, kind of all the way across, kind of across the whole palate. But again, the fruit flavors are really nice.
And there's a lot of power to them too. Like this is definitely a more forward wine than the last one. There's more weight. There's more intensity of flavor here. At the same time, for me, there's more intensity of acidity. That's not 100% in line with the fruit flavors and the sugar here. It's a little. I wouldn't use the word disjointed because it's not that. It's just not balanced.
And to me, it's like a little bit of that, little bit of like citrus peel. Like we just got done with that interview with Marcus from Intelli Wines, where he talks about how he thinks bitterness can be like an interesting component
Yeah.
with the wines, and I'm getting just a touch of that with the citrus peel, where there's just a little bit of bitterness. I think with the intent of like kind of offsetting some of the sweetness, which, you know, in some ways it kind of works for me, in some ways it doesn't. But it keeps it interesting, and I can kind of see what they're going for with that. And it makes more sense here. Like, I think that kind of bitterness would be really off-putting here. But here, since the sweetness is a little more heavy, the fruit's a little more tropical and rich and in your face, it can handle a little bit of that structure in the back.
I think Dan pretty much nailed it there. This one, I don't know. It's just not as composed as the last one. Still got really delicious flavors. Maybe I'm a little, like we tasted this one that was so imbalanced, so in line. It's easy to pick out the things that aren't. It definitely is, because I've been sitting here saying what the differences between the first wine, but this is still delicious, right? Still really fun to drink.
Mm-hmm.
Still a great dessert one, but definitely more in the style that I expect, right? More forward, more sweet, and it's just a higher intensity wine all around.
A little more simple, yeah.
Yeah, and a little more simple. Yeah, it doesn't have the sort of evolution of flavor and the sort of different pieces of the wine that come together to really make an interesting experience. But totally delicious. And what do you expect? What do you expect at $20 for a split, right?
It's still pretty all right.
It's still pretty. It's pretty good. I'm gonna go 87 points on it. And I think if you're wanting to try out Sauternes, you haven't checked out a lot of it, or even if you like Sauternes, it's worth checking out at the price point.
Yeah,
it's good.
And I'd say 89 for me, because that little bit of bitterness. I think, man, it's even strange for me to say this. I think that experience at that last interview actually kind of changed my palate a little bit in that way.
Wow.
Like frequently, I hold that. I've been holding that against wines pretty consistently, but I think differently about it now. Yeah, so 89, I kind of dig it. And I don't know if we marked on this too, but this was like 50 plus or minus, so right, like totally in a different price category.
Yeah, big time change in price. But this was the much lighter of the three wines in the pre-taste, and we're like, we got to do it first. So.
Yep. And then on to wine number 3. This is the Roumieu-Lacoste. Again, I'm sorry, that's almost certainly not right.
I think it's pretty close.
Okay. We can hope.
I think that's the one we've done the best on. So. All right.
Well, this is the 2007. It's the Cuvee Andre, which I don't think we've done before. The normal Roumieu-Lacoste is usually more around $20, and we have had a previous vintage of that on here in the past.
Yep.
But this has a little red text right up here that says Cuvee Andre, and this was right around 30. And we checked on Cellar Tracker to verify that it is actually a different designate. It's not something that all the bottles say.
Yeah, there's only I think three vintages listed in Cellar Tracker, right? 2007, 2005, and then 98. We were thinking, hey, maybe that's good vintages only. 98 wasn't that great of a vintage, so yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they decided to do it, and it's a Kurt Lynch import, so like there's definitely some like precedent behind the styles he likes to bring in, like a certain standard of quality. And B, that also means that it's distributed nationally, and that you can almost certainly find it in other places around the country.
So the nose on here is almost like you blended the first two wines, right? Like it's got that, the creme brulee sort of like sweet cream thing in the nose, but then you still getting that heavy dose of tropical fruit along with it as well, like the sort of peachy and pineapple. Yeah,
a lot more like the pineapple coming on here,
yeah.
Like some citrus fruit, but not so much the peel as even like part of the fruit. And the nose is really jumping out of the glass a lot more on this one than the previous two.
Totally. That smells great. This is yeah. Now we're getting into it. Yeah, I like this quite a bit. Notice how when you rinse that one around on the tongue, how it almost stays together, like it's like refuses to break apart. Nice. A lot more weight on the palate. Yeah.
Oh.
The way the acidity sort of just completely like starts at the tip and just got the tongue. Yeah.
Well, it's good. We haven't had any really good outtakes for a while.
It's been a while.
All right, so we're back. Like, there's a long string of inappropriate jokes there, but the gist of it is that I'm struck by how well the acidity lingers from the mid palate through the finish. It's got like a nice, you know, a nice core to it that isn't too powerful, but definitely keeps things like light and clean while the rich fruits are working their way across the palate.
And so where I was, where the previous one, the Castelnau, there was a little lack of integration here. Everything's together on this wine. This is the acidity, while strong, and I think adding some of that bitter component you were talking about before.
Yep. There totally is some of it here.
It's right in line with the rest of the fruit, and really well put together. Like this is totally delicious, and the finish on it is very long, right? Like you could sort of sit there and almost.
And there's this evolution. You're just like, oh yeah, the creme brulee, like the peaches, you know, citrus or tropical fruits. They all like kind of come and go in turns, and they, you know, I had that last sip a while ago, and I can still distinctly taste some of that stuff. Great dessert wine, great to share with a lot of people because you don't need very much, right? Like little sips give you a lot of things to experience.
It's crazy because it really is a party. There's a lot of complexity here. Like you sort of taste it originally, and it's kind of like the peachy pineapple thing, but like as I rinse it around my mouth and then start to swallow it, I get like this like orange juice kick, really strong, like fresh squeezed orange juice, like lots of it. And then the acidity just explodes, and it literally, like there's a lot of acidity on this, but there's a lot of sweetness and a lot of flavor intensity too to back that all up. And as you swallow it, then sort of like sweet, the creme brulee sort of starts to settle in as those powerful flavors sort of relax, and you can taste it for 20, 30 seconds afterwards. And this is what I like to think about Sauternes, like a powerful Sauternes. This is what I like. It's good stuff.
Man,
the acidity is a little high. I constantly see it. The acidity is a little high. It's high, but the way it's integrated with the rest of the wine, killing it. So, like it a lot.
Yeah.
I want this with some dessert or a cheese plate at the end of the night. That would be awesome.
93 points for me, and I'm wondering if I'm being unreasonably stingy. That's there's just a lot of evolution, a lot of great things going on, and I think I mentioned like this is this was 30 plus minus great wine at that price point. Again, if you're sitting around, definitely pick some up. Enjoy it over the, you know, if you got going shopping the next couple of days, enjoy it over Christmas, enjoy it over New Year's, and this stuff will all age forever too. So
absolutely, 92 points for me again. It's a fantastic wine, and first time Dan scored over the top of me in a while. No, I guess actually pretty recently. What I'm saying,
even still,
But Dan's excited about this, really excited about this.
Yeah,
and so it's fantastic. Good stuff.
So happy to share some more great wines with you. Happy to be exploring Sauternes some more. You know, hope you enjoyed the Christmas tree. If you're seeing this, that probably means Christmas is in a day or two.
I got a good question today.
Sweet. So hopefully you have a good time with your family. Or
yes, we hope you do. We're going to. What are you doing for Christmas?
I go back to Minnesota. Hanging out with.
Going out to see my parents.
Family.
Actually, I'm working Christmas.
Ooh.
And then right after, we're driving down to see the parents.
Post-Christmas festivities, excellent.
Yeah. So,
what's your question?
Question of the day: what do you want for Christmas?
Hey, that's a good question. That's a good question. Some of you are probably going to have already passed Christmas by the time you see this, but still answer with what you wanted beforehand. That'd be fun to talk about.
And did you get it? Yeah, if you answer this afterwards. Yeah.
Fair enough. Cheers.
See you guys next time.
Have a good one.
Bye.